Hello guys, so today we will see how to determine the percentages of carbon, hydrogens and oxygen from the combustion reaction. So in general, from the combustion reaction we'll get CO2 and H2 as the products. So when we burn acetic acid, so products are 6.22 mg. So here 4.22 milligram sample of acetic acid is completely burned and it gives 6.22 milligrams of CO2 and 2.55 milligrams of H2O. Now CO2 and H2O are the products. In CO2 and H2O you can see oxygen is the common element, but carbon and hydrogen are unique. So we can determine the amount of carbon from CO2 and amount of hydrogen from H2O. So firstly we'll determine the amount of carbon using CO2. So let's get started. So the first step we'll do, determine the mass of carbon from CO2. So how we'll do that? So we'll start with 6.22 milligrams of CO2. So 6.22 milligrams of CO2. Now we'll use the dimensional analysis method. So we know 1 gram CO2 is 1000 milligrams of CO2. Now we need to convert these grams of CO2 to moles. So we'll use the molar mass here. So what is the molar mass of CO2? 44.0084 grams and 1 mole CO2. Now as we are determining the mass of carbon from 1 mole, in 1 mole CO2, so 1 mole CO2 there will be 1 mole of carbon. So 1 mole CO2 contains 1 mole of carbon and we'll convert these moles of carbon to grams, like here 1 mole carbon and molar mass of carbon is 12.0096 grams. Now this milligram CO2 will get cancelled, gram CO2 will get cancelled, mole CO2 will get cancelled, mole of carbon will get cancelled. So 6.22 multiplied by 12.0096 divided by 1000 multiplied by 44.0084. So this calculation will get 1.697 into 10 raised to minus 3 grams of carbon. Now they have provided this sample mass in milligrams, so we'll convert this mass into milligrams. So multiplied by 1 milligrams equal to 10 raised to minus 3 grams. So grams of carbon milligrams of carbon, so grams of carbon will get cancelled, 10 raised to 10 minus 3 10 raised to minus 3 will get cancelled. We'll get 1.697 milligrams of carbon. So this is the mass of carbon. Now similarly let's determine the mass of hydrogen from H2O. So how we'll do that? Let's start with 2.55 milligrams of H2O. Similarly here 1000 milligrams, 1 gram H2O. Now this grams of H2O will convert to moles. So molar mass of H2O is 18.02 grams and 1 mole H2O. Now here 1 mole H2O contains 2 moles of H, and finally converting this number of moles to grams of hydrogen. So molar mass of hydrogen is 1.00784 grams. Now let's cancel out the similar units: mg, milligrams H2, milligrams H2, grams H2, moles H2, and mole H. Now 2.55 multiplied by 2 and multiplied by this molar mass of hydrogen divided by 1000 into 18.02. So this calculation, after this calculation, we'll get 2.85 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 4 grams of hydrogen. Now again we'll convert this to milligrams. Here we know 1 milligram is 10 raised to minus 3 grams. Hydrogen. So grams of hydrogen get cancel. Now we'll get 2.85 into 10 raised to minus 1 milligram of H, that is nothing but 0.285 milligrams of hydrogen. So this is the mass of hydrogen. Now we have the mass of carbon as 1.697 milligrams and mass of hydrogen 0.285 milligrams. Now we'll determine the percentage of carbon in 4.22 milligrams of sample of acetic acid. So 1.697 milligrams divided by 4.22 milligrams. So this is the mass of carbon and this is the mass of acetic acid multiplied by 100. This percentage will get 40.2% of carbon. Now we'll determine percentage of hydrogen. So 0.285 milligrams of hydrogen divided by 4.22 milligrams of acetic acid multiplied by 100. So this is coming out to be 6.75 percentage of hydrogen. Now we have percentage of carbon, percentage of hydrogen, and it is in the problem it is said that acetic acid contains only carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So from these percentages we can determine the percentage of oxygen. So let's see how we can do that. So percentage of oxygen equals to 100 minus percentage of carbon plus percentage of hydrogen. So this will be 100 minus percentage of carbon, we know 40.2, plus percentage of hydrogen 6.75. So we will get 53.1% of oxygen. So percentage of carbon 40.2, percentage of hydrogen 6.75, and percentage of oxygen 53.1%. So this is the practice problem. You guys can reply with your answers in the comments section. Please do like if you get any value from this video. Please do share and subscribe to our channel for such more videos. Thank you.